everybody. This is Christina from Triathlon Mommy, Dastrum Coaching, and Dastrum Run Clubs. And I help moms just like you start a children's fitness program in your community so that you can have three outcomes. First is that you can earn income. Second is that you can get fit and work on your mindset. And third, and most importantly, that you impact the kids in your community with our powerful character building program. But on Tuesdays, it's Tuesdays, yes. On Tuesdays, I come into this group and I do a coaching around strategy and tactics to start a children's fitness program, whether or not you work with us. And right now, I'm going to silent my phone because it's going to keep ringing. So I give on Tuesdays, it's strategies and tactics, things that you need to think about if you're going to start this in your community. Again, whether or not you're going to work with us in implementing this. Okay, so today's training is about, well, how long does this take? How long do I need in order to, from the time that I think about this and I make a decision that I want to start a children's fitness program and that I actually have kids enrolled and I'm making income. And the truth is that is a very wide and broad question, right? And it depends on a lot of different things. So let's unpack that a little bit, and then you will be able to make a better decision based on your community and your circumstances. I'm going to frame this conversation with our program. So our program, when a mom joins our program, she is in our program for 8 weeks, so for 2 months. And so I can measure, from when she starts to when she finishes, what has transpired and what she has accomplished. And I have a little bit of data. I think we have now 30 something moms that have either gone through the program or are in the program right now. So how long it takes depends on primarily two things: on your community and how things are organized in your community, and you, who you are, what connections you have, and your access and reach to people. Now, a children's fitness program is not an MLM and it's not a pyramid. So it's not like you're going to have to be going to your friends and asking them for a thing, or inviting them to a party to sell them something. But you will, depending on how connected you are in your community, it's going to be either easier or harder for you to start your program. So let's do the community first. All right. So I have moms that that they say, okay, I want to work at a school, because we work through community partners. So that is a school, a rec center, parks and rec department, preschools, churches, other athletic programs, just any organization that is already working with children and families. So, some communities are really developed in their systems and how they do things. And so those communities, on the one hand, is good because you know exactly what you need to be done. But on the other hand, it might take a little longer. So, for example, our client, Christina in Florida, she wanted to work with middle schools because her son is in middle school. So when she approached her local middle school, she was informed, okay, you can't do anything. You can't partner with any school anywhere at any level at any part of this district unless you have district approval for your program. So in her situation, she couldn't go directly to the school. She had to get approval from the district. So that took a little bit longer. And I believe it took about a month in order to get that approval. But on the plus side, when you get that, maybe it was 2 months, I'm not sure. But it took a little bit longer. But once you get that approval, then you are approved and you're open and you can work in any school in that district. So if your community has these systems in places, it might take a couple of months for you to be feet on the ground, ready to enroll children in your program. But if, for example, your community doesn't have that, like I didn't have that starting my club, and many of the moms that we work with in their communities didn't have that either. So it's just a matter of approaching a community partner, figuring it out with them, and starting a program. So I didn't have to wait those 2 months. In fact, for example, Shannon in Kansas, um, she started our program, let's say day one, and by the third week, she already had her community partner. She had already negotiated, and she was enrolling kids. So that took 3 weeks for her to start enrolling children in her program. And we have another mom, Christy, in Colorado, who, well, I'll tell you about her in 1 second. So in terms of your community, a lot is going to vary in terms of the community and the systems it has in place for the things that you can and can't do. So you would need to research locally what that would entail for you. The other factor about how long it's going to take depends on who you are, right? And how connected you are. So, Christy, who I was going to tell you about, she is in Colorado. She works in education and she worked as a lobbyist, like, not, I don't really know what it is, like some advocacy organization. But the point is that she was very well connected with the preschools in her community. So she joined our program, and 3 days later, she already had her community partner set. And so she was going to be able to start enrolling kids soon after that. So that is like less than a week in order for you to get things going. But she was able to do that because she already had all those connections and she already knew people. So it was easy for her to come in and be like, okay, this is what I want to do. Let's start a program. Let's start a program. um, for me, like I said, in my when I started my club, it was also pretty fast. It was just a matter of a week or two until from the time I had the idea to the time that I was enrolling kids. So it can happen fast, right? But if you don't know anybody, or let's say, we have some moms that are homeschool moms, so they don't have an in with the schools, or they don't have that many connections in organized sports or in organized community organizations, then it's going to take a little bit longer because you do need to approach them. You need to try to get a meeting or try to get a phone call with somebody. So it's, for them, the process is going to be a little bit longer because it's like that road isn't already paved for her. Okay. So those moms, um, maybe closer to a month and a half, 2 months. That's what they've been able to do in terms of community partners, and sometimes a little bit longer, right? Because again, every community is different and how you approach them is different. So, this is the deal though. When people sign up for our course, or our course is 8 weeks, and people assume that you have to wait 8 weeks, like that you have to get like this huge training and then you go out and do things. And at least in our end, that's not how it works, right? The whole point of you being inside of our program for 2 months is that we can track, help, and support you as you are having these conversations with your partners. So, while most moms that are in our program are able to have their community partners secured before the time that we're finished, right? Before the end of the 8 weeks. So if you ask me on average, given these variabilities, I'm going to say it's like 2 months at most. Okay. Or at most, no, I shouldn't say that. 2 months on average. So this is a fairly quick turnaround. This is something that you don't need, people like, oh, to be a personal trainer, you need to do this class for X amount of time, or to be as a certified yoga instructor, you need the 200-hour course. This is a different model, and it's actually quite a quick model as long as you know what you're doing and as long as you have a curriculum of what you're going to be teaching the kids. So I'm not a big proponent of just go out there, just make it fast. And you can have kids enrolling and you can start making money really fast. And then you get to the field and you have no idea what to do with them. Or you can't just tell the kids like, go run. Or you can't just be like, pushing kids to run in 105-degree weather and then one of them collapse. Like, you have to be very conscious of what it is that you're doing in your program, but the amount of time that you can actually get it going and off the ground, that's reasonably quick. So hopefully that distinction is clear because I don't want to have anybody think that we're proposing anything different. Okay. So, so the children's fitness program is not rocket science, right? It's not something that you're going to have to, um, it's not going to take 6 months for you to be certified in order for you to be able to be attracting and enrolling children. It's a process that can move quickly, depending on the community that you're in and depending on the connections that you have. Um, so hold on, somebody, how about homeschool association? Yeah. So another community partner are homeschool associations, because they are always looking for things for their children, for enrichment programs for their kids, or even for their PE class. But so some communities, the homeschool associations are like on the ball, and it's a very big group and super organized with lots of ways to market to that group. In some communities, not so much. So I can tell you that, for example, in my community here in New Mexico, the homeschool association is just completely scattered, and it's mostly for like very, very young kids. So I would not be able to count on them as a community partner because they're not, again, they're not organized. So that's another thing that would fall under, it depends on your community, right? Like the what the homeschool community is like, how organized they are, and how easy it is to be able to market to them. Okay. So that is that is the process. What if you're thinking, okay, so all right, Christina, great. So you've told me all this thing and you've given me no concrete answer. So what I would do if I were you and you're thinking about this is do a little bit of research. So who is in your community? What are your potential community partners? And do they have rules? Like, do they have established processes for somebody to be working with them? So if you have a YMCA, do they take outside vendors, or they pay you as an instructor? If you have schools, do you have to be approved by a district, or can you approach them directly? All those things you can start researching yourself, and think about who you are and your connections. So if you're a mom, what are your kids' schools, and what processes do they have? Or if you don't have kids in school, what are the preschools in your area, or the homeschool group looks like? And start putting out feelers of, not putting out feelers, but understanding who you have reach to. So if you have both sides, if you know what the rules of engagement are in terms of the partners and who you know at those places, then you're good to go. Then you're gonna, but regardless, the turnaround is, the time you need to get this started is not very much. So don't let that stop you. Now, if you would like assistance in getting it, in getting the program going, in learning, how do you approach a community partner? What do you offer them so that they want to work with you? How do you set up registrations and take payments from the parents? And how do you set this up, the administration part of it, so that you can do this? We do cover that in our program, and we help moms just like you turn, and from this, I've got a general idea of what I want to do, into a reality of having a children's fitness program where they have children enrolled and where they're making income working on their fitness and impacting the community. So if you're interested in talking to us of whether we would be a good fit, or our program or our system is a good fit for you, then make sure you book a call at dsrunclub.com/apply, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see who you are, where you live, what connections you have. And I can tell you, okay, I think we can help you be successful here with these partners, and how long it would take, more, like a guesstimate for you. All right. So hopefully you have found this live helpful. If you have any questions, just post them on the comment thread, or you can always DM me. We are here to help and to support you in your journey of starting your profitable children's fitness program, because we know how impactful it is and how much both you and the kids that you serve can be transformed by it. All right. So thank you so much for joining me live today, and I will catch you next week. Tomorrow on Wednesdays, we have our mindset training. So I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, not 11, 10, 9, 8 Pacific, here at in the Facebook group. I'll talk to you guys soon.